Welcome to Day 4's presentation as we look at positive mind for a healthy you. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Hamilton. Today's presentation looks at the mind-body connection. Aristotle once addressed a team of physicians and shared the following thought. He said, "In the same way that we do not attempt to cure the eyes without the head, or the head without the body, neither can we treat the body without the soul." Currently, in the medical community, this has not been adapted. This can be seen in individuals diagnosed with conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and even fibromyalgia. The root cause is never identified. We commonly just look at foods, and yes, this is a huge part. However, what mental or emotional situation preceded the choice in diet? To reverse these conditions requires learning new habits, which involves the mind. As a naturopathic physician, we are trained in mind-body medicine, which focuses on the interactions between the brain, the mind, body, and behavior, and on the powerful ways in which emotional, mental, social, spiritual, and behavioral factors can directly affect health. Scientific evidence has confirmed that attitude, hope, feeling well with oneself, and social relations significantly affect the course of the following illness. These include the common cold, breast cancer, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, and AIDS. Our lives can be very hectic at times, but remember, live simply, laugh often, eat with balance and moderation, get regular exercise, be optimistic, use memories to relax, practice anger control, and practice assertiveness. Let's look at the power of thoughts. Consider this example. Susan met up with a few old high school friends and they spent some time together remembering the past and talked about their current life and achievements. When Susan got home, she started to ponder the day's activities and also went over each conversation and thus concluded that her friends were luckier than she was. Soon after, she started to feel sad and disappointed about her own accomplishments. This mood stayed with her for several days. This scenario shows a direct relationship between thought and behavior or mood. We are all in charge of our own thoughts. With the exception of automatic reactions or repetitive acts, behaviors find their root in our preceding thoughts. As a preventative measure, identify and control emotions and undesirable thoughts. Positive thinking helps to preserve mental health and reach goals. However, not every problem can be solved with positive thinking. There are times we will suffer, and when these occasions come, trust God and have faith as a source of support. Think positive thoughts and reject negative thoughts. Don't be a pessimist. Therefore, learn to identify your negative thoughts and seek to change your thinking style. Try to find positive memories of your past, the future, your environment, people, and yourself. So what's inner dialogue? Is it positive or negative? Filling your mind with spiritual thoughts and themes can be a safe way to attain mental peace. Having adequate self-esteem promotes well-being as it helps to give us a sense of personal worth, safety, self-respect, and the strength to face challenges. Individuals with self-value achieve the highest accomplishments at work, at home, with friends, and in their communities. On the other hand, individuals who tend to have low self-esteem often feel inadequate and always appear to have problems and think they are bound to fail. This can lead to depression, lack of social relationships, addiction, and unhealthy eating habits. Here are some tips on how to attain a healthy self-esteem. Avoid mocking other persons. Ask for forgiveness when appropriate. Keep fit and healthy. Focus on your positive and strong features. Forgive yourself. Recognize the special needs of others. Emphasize the positive features of others. Give support to your family. Be in control of your thoughts. And choose your friends who are positive and affirming. With all these tips, then you know that communication is important. Communication is important as it affects the image others have of us and creates an emotional tone for each encounter. Good communication gives us acceptance, while bad communication will lead to misunderstanding and disappointment. So how do you communicate? Well, the most important part is listening. Are you a good listener? Ask yourself these questions. Do you ask for clarification when you listen? How do you confirm what you have heard? Do you try to find out how the other person feels? Do you avoid distractions while listening? How is your posture during listening? Are you attentively looking at the person and nodding or smiling? Do you offer help when possible? Well, let us look on the flip side. How do you speak? Do you know when to be silent? Do you know when to apologize? Do you use kind words? Do you organize your thoughts before you speak? Do you use praise when you hear a good report? And finally, do you know when to say no? Good communication should bring about mutual satisfaction even if the response is a no. Try to explain your position without arguing and offer an alternative when possible. A gem of ancient wisdom says, kind words appease rage, but harsh messages make it worse. Our thought process is a good indication of what we will communicate to others. So this leads us to automatic thought control. Automatic thoughts are brief, quiet, repetitive messages told to oneself. Most often we don't recognize their presence as they are so deeply rooted. They can be positive or negative and can exert a powerful influence. If you're a pessimist, automatic thoughts are your weakness. Let's look at how to catch your automatic thoughts. Ask yourself this question. What has gone through your head in the last 15 minutes? What images or memories did you recall or think of? What emotional intense moments have you had recently? Did it pop up in your mind just now? Notice if feelings are lingering. Analyze your thoughts and see if they are realistic and useful. Always remember, do not believe everything that goes through your mind. Another ancient wisdom says, for as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Do not foster negative automatic thoughts, as these lead to low personal performance, a decline in personal relationships, low self-esteem, and feelings of hopelessness. Researcher Gresna Koshanska did a study on the health of guilty feelings and found that in the right measure, it can help prevent bad behavior. Many of us live with a false feeling of guilt. This can contribute to the following: being demanding on others, perfectionism, constant self-blame, and fear of failure. A healthy sense of guilt will awaken your conscience, which will help to censor and prevent unwanted habits or morally wrong behavior. If guilt is justified, then rectify your behavior and ask for forgiveness. Talking about guilty feelings with a frustrated friend is a helpful way to unload built-up tension. Remember, mistakes are changes to learn. Now let's consider emotional intelligence. Do you know your emotional intelligence level? Here are some components to consider in order to understand emotional intelligence. What is your ability to motivate yourself? Do you have perseverance to achieve your goals? Do you have your impulses under control? Are you able to postpone rewards? Can you self-regulate your moods? What's your empathetic ability? Do you have the ability to trust? What is your ability to be reasonable and in intense emotional moments? Google online and find an emotional intelligence test if you can. Based on your scores, you can use the following pointers to help nourish your emotional intelligence. And these are: know your emotions. Start a diary if you must. Learn to control your emotions. Start with positive thinking. Practice self-motivation. Nourish your relationships by making the effort to live peaceably and in harmony with people. I am reminded of the text, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God." We are winding down for today as we talk about living with hope. Hope is the most important source of motivation. The survivors of the Nazi concentration camps will tell you it's because they kept their hope of liberation until the very end and refused to accept that the camp was the end of their life and focus on the hope of being rescued that made the difference. We should strive to maintain and increase our hope as it affects our present situation and our future. Try some of the following tips and see if they help. When you think of the future, try to see good results and experiences. Do not be a pessimistic person and reject negative thoughts. When you recall past events, focus on the pleasant things. When in despair, break that cycle. Practice optimism. Send encouraging messages to yourself when you have feelings of despair. Get books with elevating themes and wisdom and meditate on them. Seek to have friends who are of influence when you can't seem to find hope. Share your hope with others and encourage them. Keep yourself physically fit. Ensure you have a balanced and healthy diet and adequate rest. And my final thought is a gem of ancient wisdom. It says, anyone who is among the living has hope. Even a live dog is better off than a dead lion. I hope you have gained deeper appreciation for the flowers or the information in the specific way I've presented them as a beautiful way to look into your emotions. Join us for our next topic, Conquering Lifestyle Diseases. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Hamilton. May God continue to bless you richly.